And we're back with Larry Caplan, and we've been talking about fall. And one of the things that people ask about is, you've got the lawn, there are weeds there. What do we do?
Good question. Fall is a great time to be killing off perennial weeds. These are the weeds that live year after year after year. Things like your clover, your dandelions, your violets, and so on. And especially if you've got landscape beds and you've got Bermuda grass climbing into it. There are certain herbicides that you can use. Generally, I know a lot of people don't like to use herbicides and weed killers, but for some weed problems, that's the product of choice, because even if you pull up the weeds, you're going to leave roots or bulbs or tubers behind, and it's going to just come right back. So right now, for a lot of these perennials that come back year after year, right now all of the energy from the leaves is going down into the roots for winter storage. So if you apply your herbicides now, the chemical will be carried down into the roots, and it will kill the roots, and it won't, the plant won't come back. Whereas if we try to do this in the spring, all the energy is going up, trying to put out new growth. So the chemical is sort of like a salmon going upstream. It's not going to be as effective. But right now is a good time to be getting rid of some of those really nasty, aggressive weeds.
Is that a spot? I mean, are you just spraying where that dandelion is? Are you just spraying where that violet is?
That is what I recommend. I don't like broadcasting weed killers over the whole yard. Just basically where you have the most troublesome weeds, where the hand pulling and the mowing doesn't work, spot treat. And you can get these little squirt bottles of whatever the product is that works best for that particular weed, and you can just spot treat like that. If you have a lawn that is just more weeds than grass, then we might kill the whole thing off with something like Roundup, let it die, let the weeds die, and then we can reseed. And we're in a great time of year to be doing that right now.
Oh, that's perfect, too. I was going to ask you that. But I know back in the days when I had a yard, the vines, Larry,
right.
They were making me crazy.
We do not like vines climbing up trees. It adds a lot of weight to the tree, and those of us who suffered through the storms a month or so ago, those of us who suffered through the ice storm of, 2009, a lot of those trees went down because they were covered with English ivy, which is an invasive weed. And it adds so much weight to the tree. It carries the wind like a sail on a sailboat, and these trees just self-destruct. Now, there are ways of killing these weeds. Now, we're not going to be able to get the vines out of the tree. The English ivy, for example, has little tendrils that kind of glom onto the stem, and the only way to get it off the tree is to sandblast it.
Are you serious?
And I'm going to tell you right now, folks, we do not sandblast living trees. Okay? I shouldn't have to say that, but I'm saying it. We don't sandblast trees. But what we would do is what I'm showing here on the graphic. First thing we do is we cut the vine at ground level. And what we're trying to do is we're going to kill the vine. None of these vines are parasites. So they're getting all their energy from their own roots.
Okay.
So if you cut the vine, everything above it is going to die eventually. But I'm also worried about the vine coming back. So after we have cut all the vines like you see here, the next step we're going to do, if we show the next slide, is we are going to paint or spray those fresh cuts with concentrated Roundup. Now, we're not spraying this over the whole area, but we are just painting those freshly cut vines. And just like with the perennials, that chemical will be sucked down into the roots, where it will kill the vine and keep it from coming back up the tree. And this is something that homeowners can do. If they don't want to do it, they can call my company. I'll be glad to come out there and do that. I'd rather not go through your whole woods, but I'll certainly do any landscape trees.
Thank you very much, Larry Caplan. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be back, and we'll have more from Larry, too. But we'll be back right after this. Thanks.